The Democrats have finally turned on their own golden girl, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and the timing couldn't be worse. Thanks to a brutal political chess move by Marjorie Taylor Greene, AOC just got tossed under the progressive bus by the very radicals she once empowered. And it wasn't just online backlash this time. Democrats literally vandalized AOC's New York office and ambushed her at a town hall, screaming that she's a war criminal. Yeah, that happened. This is what happens when a party dives headfirst off the radical cliff. The Democrats pushed out all their moderates, embraced chaos, and now the chaos is turning inward. The radicals who took over the party are now attacking their own for not being radical enough. You can't make this up, AOC. Once the face of their revolution is now the punching bag of their rage.
Investigations underway after someone vandalized Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's campaign office in the Bronx.
Yeah, someone dumped red paint on the roll-down gate with a sign that says AOC funds genocide in Gaza. Eyewitness News anchor Joe Torres is live in Westchester Square with more on that investigation. Joe.
Lauren, there is considerable and widespread agreement here in Westchester Square that no matter what political position you might have, your stance, what side of the aisle, if you're looking to make a statement, this is not the way to do it, through vandalism and the defacing of public property. According to police, it was about 12:40 this morning when this...
So why exactly is AOC getting dragged by her own party right now? Simple. She voted against a bill put forward by none other than Marjorie Taylor Greene. And believe it or not, that bill was actually a brilliant political trap. MTG's proposal called for the U.S. to stop handing Israel $500 million annually for its Iron Dome Israel's missile shield. Now, that might sound random, but it was a calculated setup. See, Marjorie Taylor Greene knew exactly what she was doing. The Democrats despise two things, MAGA and Israel. So MTG put forward a symbolic bill that she knew wouldn't pass, but it forced Democrats to make a very uncomfortable choice. Do they vote for a MAGA-sponsored bill and risk backlash? Or vote against it and look like they're siding with Israel, whom the radical base accuses of genocide? Either way, they lose. The brilliance of this move was that it left no neutral ground. The woke progressives had to either align with fascists or appear to back Israeli war crimes. That's why AOC's vote against the bill caused such an uproar. Unlike Rashida Tlaib or Ilhan Omar, AOC didn't vote to defund Israel's defense system, and now the pro-Hamas wing of her base has declared war on her. Literally, her own constituents are calling her a war criminal. The backlash has been nuclear. Protesters vandalized her office and accused her of enabling genocide in Gaza. And it all stems from that one vote. Now, say what you want about MTG, but she checkmated the far left. The radicals are furious that AOC broke ranks and now she's facing the heat. Meanwhile, MTG sits back and watches the Democrats destroy each other from the inside. AOC tried to clean up the mess on social media, posting a long explanation. She said MTG's bill didn't actually stop offensive aid to Israel and wouldn't end the bombing in Gaza, so she voted against it. According to her, it only targeted the Iron Dome, not the weapons causing the destruction. Her argument, cutting defense shields won't stop civilian deaths. And she's focused on ending the actual flow of lethal weapons. But the replies under her post, brutal. People accused her of enabling genocide, of being a coward, of bowing to pro-Israel lobbyists. One user even said, "I didn't hand the shooter a gun. I just gave him a bulletproof vest," implying that AOC helped shield the aggressor. Others said this was complicity, plain and simple. They reminded her that Israel is on trial for genocide, and that no aid, defensive or not, should be sent. One reply shredded her position by saying, if you believe Israel is committing genocide, then why vote to fund anything that helps them? They argued that Iron Dome lets Israel act with impunity, and that by supporting it, she enables more violence. Some progressives even said she betrayed those who risk more politically than she does, and yet still had the guts to vote against Israel. The fallout, absolutely devastating. And AOC, she doubled down with a second tweet. Telling people to Google is free, basically implying that critics don't understand the issue. But that only made things worse. The radical left isn't just disappointed, they feel betrayed. And The best part? This entire Democrat meltdown was triggered by a symbolic MAGA bill that never even had a shot of passing. That's next-level political JIU-JITSU.AOC. Tried to clap back, saying, "I didn't vote for military funding." Stopped lying while attaching her so-called receipts. She told critics to drag her for her real positions, but warned them not to. Lie, claiming that doesn't make them part of the left. But then she dropped the bomb. If you think neo-Nazis are acting in good faith, you can have them. That was her desperate way of justifying why she stood with Marjorie Taylor Greene. To keep Iron Dome funding. According to her, the choice was either side with Nazis or back the bombs. But Twitter wasn't buying the theatrics. Someone asked if she was about to go full John Fetterman, who apparently now represents the new bar for sanity. The left is now so delusional that using basic logic is seen as an act of betrayal. Then came the real question. So are you calling all your fellow socialist reps who voted the other way neo-Nazis too? People pointed out, AOC literally voted against a key amendment that would have pulled money from Israel's military. That's the moment she lost everyone. Even accounts with rainbow flags in their handles were dragging her. One tweet said, Rashida Tlaib voted to defund the Iron Dome. You didn't? So is she a Nazi now? The backlash hit from every corner of the online left, but the biggest blow came next. The knockout punch wasn't from conservatives, it came from her own squad. Ilhan Omar, yes, Ilhan Omar, retweeted a post directly calling AOC out for betraying the cause. The tweet laid it all bare. Out of 435 voting members, only 6 supported Marjorie Taylor Greene's amendment to strip $500 million from Israel's missile defense. Greene's argument, we already give them $3.8 billion every year. Why are we funding their weapons too? And standing with her on that were Thomas Massie, Al Green, Summer Lee, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, that's it. Meanwhile, AOC and almost every Democrat voted the opposite way, proving once again that this party is broken beyond repair. Now the Democrat Party is just a confused, headless mess. No leadership, no vision, no unity. Just performative infighting and viral meltdowns. The radicals have hijacked the wheel, and they're driving the bus straight into oncoming traffic. And what did AOC do when faced with that chaos? She turned on her own base, spit in their face, and now she's watching the fallout as even her squad sisters abandon her. This wasn't just bad politics. This was career suicide in real time. They thought the loudest, most unhinged socialists would at least pretend to support Palestine just to keep up the act. But when AOC voted against even a symbolic resolution, condemning Israel, her base saw right through it. The radicals feel betrayed. To them, she's no longer a revolutionary voice. They see her as another corporate shill who sold out to the Zionist lobby. That's why she got ambushed at her own town hall, labeled a war criminal, and shouted down by the very crowd that once worshipped her. And honestly, it's beautiful chaos. The radical left is eating itself alive. These aren't your average protesters. They're the firebombers, the street rioters, the ones who smashed cities in 2020. Now they're turning their rage toward their so-called heroes, demanding they stop preaching socialism from luxury condos and start living it. But AOC and Bernie, they're luxury-level leftists, millionaires who rant about the people from behind velvet ropes and catered brunches. They love to scream about inequality, all while sipping wine in $10,000 gowns at Hollywood galas. These aren't revolutionaries there. Rich actors cosplaying poverty. Supporting socialism is just their final badge of moral superiority. They already think they're smarter than you, richer than you, and now they pretend they care more than you. But when it comes to real sacrifice, they're nowhere to be found, and the crowd's catching on. It reminded me of Jamal Bowman, too. Another New York progressive getting smacked in the face with the reality of radical politics. He tried to thread the needle, speak up for Palestine, while still acknowledging Israel's right to exist, and boom, he got mobbed, screamed at, cornered by activists who told him straight to his face, Israel has no right to exist. That's how far gone this movement is. No compromise, no nuance, just pure destruction. And that's the trap. These politicians try to please everyone, but the people they're pandering to don't want peace, they want annihilation. When the left cheers for Hamas or demands free Palestine, they're not talking about peaceful coexistence. They want Israel wiped off the map, and eventually, that rage turns inward. They want the end of capitalism, the death of the wealthy, the seizure of private property. They're not after reform, they're after collapse. These are the same lunatics who shoot at ICE agents just for doing their jobs that every other country on earth enforces. So it's no surprise that the radicals are now raging against AOC after a CNN clip resurfaced where she admitted she supports Israel's right to exist. That one sentence, that was enough. The mob doesn't forgive. Once you show even a sliver of common sense, you're their enemy. And now, AOC's finding that out the hard way. So while AOC tries to thread the needle claiming she supports Israel's right to defend itself while also condemning their strikes on media buildings' nobodies, buying it, her own side is turning against her. The moment she said she'd vote yes on funding Israeli defense systems, the radicals she used to energize suddenly saw her as a traitor. The crowd that once chanted her name is now calling her a war criminal. And while Democrats keep clinging to fake polls that claim Trump is underwater, the reality on the ground tells a different story. Even if some Americans aren't thrilled about Trump, they're even more disgusted by what the Democrats have become. The last election proved at every single county in America but 2 moved right. And what do Democrats do in response? They keep sprinting left straight into the arms of socialists and extremists. They see someone like Zoran Mamdani winning in a radical New York district filled with anti-capitalist pro-Hamas rhetoric and think that's the future of America. But, spoiler alert, voters in Georgia, Pennsylvania, or even the Midwest don't want to live in a socialist, Sharia-flavored dystopia. There's no adult left in the Democratic room, and if anyone is at the wheel, they're asleep or already launched off the cliff just, hoping the seatbelts hold. Even moderates who don't love Trump are watching the chaos and thinking, well, at least he gets stuff done. Say what you want about his tweets, but Trump is focused, relentless, and actually delivers. Meanwhile, Democrats are offering the American people a choice between a guy who builds and a party that burns everything down. That's not a tough decision. No amount of name-calling fascist Hitler or threat to democracy is going to change that. In just 7 months, Democrats have proven they're even worse than before. The same party that gave U.S. Kamala Harris is now at war with itself. The radicals are coming for Chuck Schumer. They're eating Hakeem Jeffries alive. And now they're throwing AOC's, their own golden girl, into the fire. When your own mob turns on you, it's over. And for the Democratic Party, this could be the beginning of the end. But hey, I want to hear from Udrop, your thoughts. In the comments, if watching this slow-motion collapse is your kind of content, hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. Turn on those notification bells so you never miss a takedown, and I'll catch you in the next one.